G'day everyone, Steve here from the Mentored Mind Project. Hope you're all having an amazing week. New topic. So we all have that little voice in our head, right? That one who tries to crush our hopes and dreams and tells us we can't do things and we're never good enough and you'll never be successful at that. You're always going to be a failure. Understand this, that little voice in our heads, and I'm sure we know this, but I really want us to think about it. That little voice in our heads is us. It's not some third party. It's us, right? And it can be very destructive. But I think of it as like a bully, right? Now, when we talk about bullies, we normally think about physical bullies, the bully at school who walks around and pushes other kids around and torments them and steals their lunch and all that stuff, right? But I think about this little voice in my head as a bully also. And a few years back, I employed a tactic that I came up with on my own, and it might seem a little bit strange, a little bit weird. You might feel a little bit embarrassed even hearing it, right? But trust me, it works. I think, my opinion only, not all, but a lot of bullies are looking for affection. They're looking for inclusion. They're looking to feel part of something. It's not all about showing out and just being an asshat, right? So I got to thinking that maybe this little voice in my head that I started to refer to as the bully needs some of that. And that's where I came up with the saying, hug the bully, right? I don't know how that works in physical terms. If you just walked up to a bully one day and went, mate, let me give you a hug and let's be friends. I don't know how that's going to work, right? But I'm assuming it wouldn't always end badly. You might be surprised. So what I decided to do was to treat the voice in my head as the bully. Now, I refer to him as neuro, right? Because he's up here in the brain, right? Neurological. I refer to my gut as quantum, right? Quantum physics, because we're vibrational and all that sort of stuff, right? And the gut, again, good vibe, bad vibe, comes from the gut. So I refer to him as neuro, down here as quantum, and then I'm me, right? So one day I said, hey, Neuro, I notice all these years we haven't got on. We haven't connected. There always seems to be a roadblock with you. You always seem to be negative. You never seem to have anything good to say. And I just wonder that maybe you're lonely and you might like to join Quantum and I and, form a little team where we all come together and work together and, how would you feel about that? Now, obviously you can't visualize a face or a person, but I saw this, as weird as this will sound, I saw this smile, this almost release and relief. And we connected. And from then on, I noticed that those negative emotions and thoughts became a little bit less. And when they did, I would check in every morning while I was brushing my teeth normally, right? It takes seconds, not minutes. I'd say, hey, Neuro, how you doing, buddy? How you feeling today? I notice there hasn't been as much negative content in your thinking. I'm so proud of you, mate. This is amazing. Quantum, you're doing amazing as always, mate, giving me those vibes that I need. Neuro, now you're contributing to that by being part of this great team and working together. Now, I did say you'll feel stupid and the whole concept will feel stupid, but trust me, it works. And it does end up feeling a bit like three people, right? There's yourself, then there's Neuro, and then there's Quantum. And you call them whatever you want, right? But that's the names I came up with. And I still use it today. And I don't just check in on Neuro and go, hey, mate, that was a shit thought. What are you doing? Like, come on, lift your game, do better. No, when I'm having less of those thoughts, I encourage Neuro and I'm grateful for Neuro and I tell him that. And again, as dumb as it sounds, it works, right? And if you think it works, it works, right? If you think it works, it works. It might be a placebo effect. I don't know, but it works for me. Have a think about it. Put it together however you want, call them whatever you want to call them, but give it a crack, all right? Trust me, as dumb as it sounds, it works. Have a good one. Hug the bully.